When you've spent a weekend setting up a home office or a small server rack, the last thing you want is to hear that familiar click-click of a cheap line-interrupted UPS and see all your work vanish in a flash. I've seen a lot of folks grab the cheapest backup unit they can find, only to discover it's more of a paperweight than a protector when a real power surge hits. So the question is, does the CyberPower OL3KRM Essential Online UPS feel like a smarter buy? Or is it just another pricey gimmick? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why this particular model might be worth your money and when it probably isn't. First off, the biggest thing that separates an online UPS from the hordes of line interactive or standby units out there is the double conversion topology. In plain English, the OL3KRM takes the incoming AC, converts it to DC, and then immediately converts it back to clean AC. That means you get a true sine wave output that stays stable no matter what the grid is doing. For a typical home office setup with a desktop, a couple of monitors, a NAS and maybe a small router, that clean power can mean the difference between a graceful shutdown and a corrupted hard drive. If you've ever lost a Word document because your laptop froze during a brownout, you'll understand why that double conversion is a big deal. But let's be real, you're not buying this just for the fancy waveform. The OL3KRM is rated at 3000 VA/2400 W, which puts it in the upper mid-range for small to medium businesses and power-hungry home labs. In practice, that translates to roughly 1012 minutes of runtime on a full load before the battery is depleted. Think about it, if you're running a workstation that draws 400 W, you'll get about 30 minutes of backup, plenty of time to save your work and power down safely. For a server that draws 800 W, you still get close to 15 minutes, which is often enough to let a UPS-managed shutdown script kick in. Who should actually consider spending on this unit? If you're a freelance designer who relies on a color-accurate monitor, a high-end desktop, and external storage, the OL3KRM gives you the peace of mind that a cheap standby UPS simply can't provide. Small IT departments that need to keep a rack of networking gear alive during an outage will also appreciate the 7 battery backup outlets, which let you protect both critical equipment and peripheral devices like a POS switch or a UPS-monitored UPS. Yes, you can nest them. The integrated LCD panel is another practical perk. It tells you battery charge, load percentage, and runtime at a glance, so you don't have to pull out a laptop to check the management software every time. On the flip side, this isn't a universal solution. If you're just looking to keep a single router or a basic Wi-Fi access point alive, spending $300 plus on a 3000 VA online UPS is overkill. Those devices typically need only a 500 VA line interactive unit, which will be lighter, quieter, and cheaper. Likewise, if your power situation is a stable, uninterrupted grid with rarely any spikes, the double conversion overhead might feel unnecessary. Some users have reported that the OL3KRM runs a little hotter than a line interactive model, simply because the conversion process generates extra heat. In a tightly packed rack, this could mean you need additional ventilation or a small fan, something you might not have planned for. A practical strength that often gets glossed over is the EBM option, an external battery module you can add later. If your power needs grow, you can expand the runtime without buying an entirely new UPS. That modularity is a real cost saver for a growing startup that starts with a single rack and adds more servers over time. The unit is also UL certified, which gives you a bit of confidence that it meets safety standards. In daily use, the 7 outlets are split between battery-backed, critical, and certainly non-critical sockets, so you can prioritize what stays running during an outage. Now, let's talk about the user experience beyond the specs. Setting up the OL3KRM is straightforward if you've done UPS installations before. Plug the unit into a grounded outlet, connect your equipment, and let the unit self-test. The LCD panel walks you through a quick calibration, and the built-in management software can be accessed via a network port for remote monitoring. I've seen it integrated into a simple Windows Server environment where it automatically sends an email when the battery reaches 20% or when a power event occurs. That level of automation is useful when you can't be at the desk 24/7. However, there are a couple of practical downsides to keep on your radar. The unit is fairly heavy, roughly 80 pounds, so moving it once installed is a chore. If you plan to relocate your rack frequently, you'll need a dolly or two strong hands. Also, the noise level isn't negligible. While it doesn't scream like a cheap standby model, the fan will spin up under full load and can be heard in a quiet office. For a home